Well, I'm in Canada. Today, we're emanating today's program from Canada in the Maritime provinces, 1,000 miles east of New York, different time zone, Atlantic time zone. And Saturday, I got a call from a younger brother of a billionaire who I helped with an aortic aneurysm. And he says, Doc, I got something for you here. Wallstreet Journal, and this was Saturday. He says, Wallstreet Journal has got a two-page story about a guy by the name of Dr. Keyes. And Dr. Keyes, in the 1930s, worked with Proctor and Gamble when they came up with a product. Let's see, what was it called? Crisco. It was Crisco. And they said, of course, that it was much healthier to eat hydrogenated oils than it was to eat saturated fat. Saturated fat caused heart disease, they said, and cholesterol clogged your arteries. And they began to market this. And they held a big event, and they raised over $1 million, which was a lot of money back then. It's chump change today, but a lot of money back in the 30s. And they started the American Heart Association. Dr. Keyes was on the scientific advisory committee, and he beat the drum, and he ran up and down, and he gave lecture after lecture after lecture telling how wonderful Crisco was, unsaturated oils, and also the hydrogenated oils were going to save America from artery disease and heart attacks. Well, you can see what's happened now. Cholesterol is, in fact, according to this article, which was an abstract in the Wallstreet Journal, it was an abstract of an article from March of this year, Annals of Internal Medicine, and they said elevated blood cholesterol is a longevity plus. You restrict cholesterol, you get Alzheimer's disease and many other diseases. Now, does that sound familiar? I've been yelling about this since 1971. It's certainly in the book Epigenetics, The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. It's in the book Immortality. It's in the book Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. Epigenetics, Immortality, and Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. Now, this is abstracted again from the March issue of Annals of Internal Medicine, and the whole study showed very clearly that people who had elevated blood cholesterol live long. Now, this is something that I want everybody to pay attention to here. You can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life by doing the opposite of what your doctor tells you. Do not take statin drugs to lower cholesterol. Even the FDA came out in 2012 and said stuff I was saying in 1971. In 2012, the FDA said, and they sent emails to all the doctors in America saying, do not prescribe statin drugs. If you do, you got to pick and choose who you give it to, because it will increase the risk of type 2 diabetes by 52% and dementias by 100%, including Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease is a physician-caused disease. It's a multiple deficiency disease, including a deficiency of cholesterol. Here's a 2-page article abstracted from the Annals of Internal Medicine about the history of the whole thing, this whole drive to get people on margarines, cook with Crisco instead of butter, cream, and lard, was done by Dr. Keyes in cahoots with Proctor and Gamble back in the 1930s. The truth finally made it out. I've been yelling about it for 40 years, and finally somebody else picked it up. Well, I want you to appreciate that you can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life by eating 4 to 6 eggs a day. I mean, I've eaten 8 eggs today, 4 for breakfast, 4 for dinner. I've had a quarter of a pound of red meat. I put butter on my baked sweet potato. And I want you to do the same thing. The title of the article in the Wall Street Journal was just fat. It showed a big picture of a beef cow in a feedlot. FAT was the title of the article. It says fat is good. Saturated fat is good. Now, there's an obituary that I used in my presentation. This obituary is a illiterate black fella from Louisiana, lived out in the swamps, Louisiana, lived out, in a house out in the swamps, no utilities, way off the grid. Guy never went to a doctor. He was illiterate. There's a picture of him being read to by his daughter, who's reading the newspaper to him because he's illiterate. This guy died at 112 in December of 2008. On the average, the 19 presidents he lived through lived to be 75. If you take out JFK, who was assassinated, he's just taken out JFK, the average lifespan was 75. And then the doctors who cared for all these presidents died at 56, exactly half of George Francis's age, which was 112 when he died. Now, when he died, the reporters asked his daughter, what did your daddy do to live to be 112? And, of course, she said, he broke all the rules of healthy eating. Who came up with the rules of healthy eating? Medical doctors who lived to be 56. And she went on to say, he broke all the rules of healthy eating with a diet heavy dairy products, eggs, and lard sandwiches. Now, I've been using his obituary in my presentation since 2008. I give 300 presentations a year. And everybody just groans when they see the eggs and the dairy and the lard sandwiches. But doctors died at 56 living on prescription drugs. They take statin drugs. They exercise. They died at 56 according to their own study, which came out in 1999 of themselves. Here's George eating all these eggs and dairy products, butter and lard and cooking oils, or not cooking oils, but cream. And he lives to be 112. I'm going with George. You got to go with George. We'll be back with more Truth, Justice, and the Longevity Way on Dead Doctors Don't Lie for these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to Shar. Shar, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, now, Shar, you've been working with me in Longevity and, its predecessor for 25 years.
Yep.
And you've built a huge longevity organization helping people. You have over 400, approaching 500,000 people now in your organization, in your group. I'm just so very, very proud of you. And you've learned so much. You just constantly amaze me how much you know and how much you retain. And in April 1st of this year, April 7th, not April 1st, April 7th, how old did you turn?
71.
71. I have to say that you look like you're 40. You're a product of the product. You just look gorgeous. Your energy is that of an 18-year-old. So proud of you. And you've seen just about everything that can be seen when it comes to health. I mean, it's probably not a disease you haven't seen.
Probably.
It's true. I believe it's true. And what I want to ask you here is, we've talked about oils, and usually when people ask me after the presentation, because they've heard me say no oils, what do I say when people ask me, come on, what about organic, virgin, extra olive oil? What do I say?
No oils!
That's it. Just two words, very loud, scream at them, and they all freak out. And I've been saying this forever.
Yes.
Now, here comes this article, and you're the one who looked it up for me. You're the one who dug it out, the Wallstreet Journal, and you read it to me on the phone several times, and you've made me slides for my presentation, so I can't wait to see them. You're an artist at this. And what is your impression? I mean, surely with the weight of the medical evidence over all the years saying that oil is better for you, margarine is better for you than saturated fat and butter and cream and lard, and you've kind of stuck with me all these 25 years. Did you ever think in the back of your mind, well, maybe Wallach's wrong on this one? Did you ever think about that?
Oh, no. I think common sense falls in. And you got to go back and look at everything. It's always money behind everything. And this Keyes guy in Proctor and Gamble had this product called Crisco.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to promote that. And so, they twist everything around and doctor up the results to make it look like that's the better way to go.
So the whole push for cholesterol over all these years was just for Procter and Gamble to sell more Crisco.
It's all been a lie. It's all based on lies and deceptions. And another thing I've been thinking about is they say that women have become par with men as far as heart attacks and everything. Well, think about this. Women go to doctors and listen to doctors more than men do, I think, in general. And so they get killed more now. I mean,
that's right, following the doctor's direction. Yep.
So women, really, if they'd stay away from the doctors, they'd probably live a lot longer.
Well, how many times have you been to a doctor personally over the last 25 years?
None. I don't go. They're scary.
So your doctor's bills have been zero?
Yep, zero. I can spend a lot of money on things that make me better, not make me sick.
Well, there you go.
Prescription drug. I will not take a prescription drug.
There you go. Now, you've looked up this Keyes guy, and it's true that he was in the beginnings of the American Heart Association. They raised that $1 million+ dollars. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, well, again, everything goes back to money.
The whole thing was formed to sell Crisco.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the Annals of Internal Medicine, which is a very well-respected medical journal. Yeah. An almost 2-page article in the Wallstreet Journal. I have never seen a scientific article. Usually it's a column or two when they have them. Have you ever seen one before that was 2 pages?
No, never.
Okay, this is a big story. This is a big deal because it supports everything we've been saying as longevity since the very beginning, since the 25 years that Char and I have been working together. This article confirms everything we've been saying. Epigenetics, immortality, rare earths been cures. And we'll be back after these messages. And Doug, give us your pearls of wisdom now.
Well, first off, I've got to do this. Because that's for the last couple of segments, because as you said, this is stuff you've been talking about for the last 40-plus years, and now we come to find out, as we knew all along, that as usual, when it comes to the mainstream medical industry, it's all about the money, and it's unconscionable to think of how many people were put on these cholesterol-lowering drugs all to sell Crisco.
Isn't that crazy?
It's just mind-bending, actually. But we're going to get another one of those flourishes here in a minute as I go through this story that I'm going to do. It's from Fox News, is where I got the source, but it was originally reported by the New York Times, and the headline reads, "Diabetes rates increase dramatically among children." They say both type 1 and type 2 diabetes have increased drastically among children and adolescents. In fact, analyzing some incidence data from 01 to 09, researchers found that 21% increase of type 1 diabetes in children up to age 19 and a 30% increase in type 2 diabetes among children ages 10 to 19. And this doctor that's quoted here from Columbia University's Medical Center and the director of the Naomi Berry Diabetes Center therein was not part of the research, but this particular doctor, Robin S. Goland, says, "In my career, type 1 diabetes was a rare disease in children, and type 2 did not exist in children, and I'm not that old." It goes on to say that she says, I don't understand the basis for an increase. There are a few possibilities, but we need to figure out if it's something in the environment or something in our genes. Because this is another one you've been talking about for years. Diabetes isn't genetic, and for type 1, it's something the mom was missing something when the gestation was occurring.
Type 1 is a inborn error metabolism.
Yeah, and type 2 is a environmental from eating a bad diet.
Yep, it's a simple mineral deficiency, type 2, and you and I both are old enough to remember when type 2 diabetes was called adult onset diabetes.
And type 1 was juvenile diabetes.
Exactly. And so, and we predicted it, and sure enough, babies are being born now with type 2 and our type 1 diabetes. It's crazy. And, of course, this is why our kids are going to die before us. There was a big article, a cover article, Time Magazine, December 2008, and said that this will be the first generation, our kids will be our first generation, where they do not live as long as the parents. And it's because of all these nutritional deficiencies, and the doctors keep pushing all these statin drugs, lower cholesterol, push the Crisco, and this is why we're in trouble. They have missed it, and as you and Char both have said, it's all about the money. And it's absolutely, I like the word you use, unconscionable. It's worse than a crime. Sometimes crimes are passion, sometimes crimes are because their family's starving to death and somebody will go rob a store to get food or some money. But unconscionable is a crime that just, when it comes to common sense, has no reason for that crime to happen except for money, greed. And every doctor who's ever prescribed a statin drug to lower cholesterol, any doctor who's told a patient to restrict their cholesterol intake and use Crisco instead of cream, butter, and lard should be put in jail for life. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Austin, Texas. And Tom, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Tom, you're on the air.
Well, thank you, Dr. Wallach. And I want to say God bless you and Milan, your lovely wife, and all you guys for doing what you do. It's just
thank you. You're very kind. Welcome to the Army.
Thank you very much. saved me from 2 spine surgeries and a gallbladder surgery doing what I've learned from you. Thank you so much.
Hey, well, thank you for the feedback and the testimony.
You betcha. I'm calling about my pastor and his wife, but I got the information on the pastor. I think I'll have to get more on his wife, but they're both. He's 66 years old, 5'7", 210 pounds. He's had in 2005 had a bypass surgery, a five-way bypass surgery.
Oh my! Mm-hmm.
Yeah, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. We got him on cholesterol drugs and on the arthritis. And they say that for replacing arteries, they tell him he only has one working artery.
Okay, well, that's impossible. He'd be dead if he only has one working artery, so he's got to have some peripheral circulation that's kind of grown around the blocked arteries. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. But the fact that he has all these multiple diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, he's got a weight problem. He's probably about 30, 40 pounds overweight. He's got arthritis. He's had bypass surgery, and he's on statin drugs. Shar, this is a Shar thing. What's his basic underlying problem?
He's got a gluten intolerance. That's why he's got all these different diseases. Because when you can't absorb any nutrients in the food or your supplements, it's because your body is your intestines are all scabbed over and everything, and you can't absorb nutrients. And it's from, what do you call it? Not an allergy, but...
intolerance. It's a contact enteritis.
Wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and even maybe corn now because of the way they doctored it up. Okay,
well, Shar is, as usual, 100% on. And so what the pastor has to do here, Tom, is get rid of all the fried foods out of his life, get rid of all the processed meats with nitrates, nitrites, deli slices, sandwich meats, that stuff. Absolutely no oils. It means no olive oil, no coconut oil, no margarine, mayonnaise, celery, cooking oils, and no gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats. What would you give him for all this, Shar?
Oh, man. I would
He's
give
got
him...
diabetes, arthritis, high blood pressure, and heart problems.
Well, I guess you could start out with two of the blood sugar packs, but you're going to have to add other stuff, like you'd have to add
Ultimate Daily Tablets
for the arthritis.
And glucogel for the arthritis. And hang on, Tom, we'll come back. We'll give you the amounts. And again, Shar is right on. We'll give you the amounts after these messages. Okay, Doug, we're going right back to Texas with Tom. And the amounts that Shar and I are talking about, she said, start him out with 2 of the healthy blood sugar packs, because that's the immediate life-threatening thing. He's got diabetes. And I'd have him take 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine 2.0 at breakfast and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and dinner, and the sweeties that come with each one, I'd have him take 3 at breakfast, or 3 or 4 at breakfast, 3 or 4 at dinner time. And, of course, he needs to take his fasting blood sugar every morning before he medicates himself, because his blood sugar will drop like a rock. Because he has high blood pressure, he could have the beginnings of kidney disease. I'd want to see his creatinine levels to see where they're at. But it also could be just straight mineral deficiencies, but it could be the beginnings of kidney problems. So he needs the Ultimate Daily Tablets. I want him to have 3 of those twice a day. And that'll be 1 bottle a month, and that's to support and promote healthy blood flow through obstructed arteries. He has a history of bypass surgeries, also support and promote healthy blood pressure. In fact, it wouldn't hurt to get 2 bottles of the Ultimate Daily Tab so he could take 9 a day, because he's had 5 bypasses, only 1 functional coronary artery, and he needs 9 a day, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. That's 2 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily Tablets. And as Shar said, the glucogel, I want him to have 15 a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at lunch, 5 at dinner. That's to support and promote maintenance and repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, discs between the vertebrae. That'll require 2 of the large 240-count bottles per month. And that's to add on to the sweeties, the Ultimate Daily Tablets, and the 2, which would be the 2 healthy blood sugar packs. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Columbus, Ohio. And Matt, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Matt, you're on the air.
Hey, Doc, how's it going?
Fine, sir. Thank you. What's up?
I have a bit of a different question for you, pulling on your knowledge as a veterinarian and everything. A friend of mine and I are both looking at building aquaponics rigs. Hers is already almost up and going, and I had already planned on using Bloomin' Minerals with, in the
Sure.
aquaponics.
Good choice.
But she's wondering if it's a good idea, and I can't imagine why not, but I thought I'd let you tell us why it would be a good idea.
Okay, it's a great idea. We actually have some people already doing this. There's some Amish communities that are doing this. We use the Bloomin' Minerals for laying chickens, the ones that lay eggs. We do it for growing broilers and fryers chickens. We use it for dairy cows. And when you put it in gardens, we get 12 to 15 pound sweet potatoes. One sweet potato will weigh 12 to 15 pounds. Beefsteak tomatoes will weigh 2 to 3 pounds. And when you give minerals to things that grow, whether they're critters, animals, fish, in your case, or plants, which is also in your case, you get maximum growth because with all of these mineral nutrients, everything in that plant and everything in the animal is going to work better. And so it's going to maximize its genetic potential. There's always such a thing as genetic potential. If you don't have all 90 essential nutrients, you might only get 60% or 40% or 30% of your genetic potential fulfilled. But when you take in 77 minerals, including all 60 essential minerals here, you're going to start pushing towards that 100% of the genetic potential, and you're going to maximize the poundage of fish that you're getting out of this operation. You're going to maximize the poundage of any algae you're growing also, which can be harvested. And so I urge you to go ahead and do it. If she has multiples of ponds, if she's concerned, she could go ahead and just do one pond instead of them all. But we have such success with aquaponics, with laying chickens, broilers and fryers, dairy cattle, everything we grow. I mean, we're talking beef cattle, goats and sheep, pigs, everything we grow using this product, Bloomin' Minerals, either in the liquid form, 55-gallon drums, gallon jugs, or powdered form, which is actually granules. 40-pound bags comes on pallets. We sell it by the semi-loads to organic food. This is organic. And so we sell this by the semi-loads to organic farmers. So it's really good stuff, and I would recommend it highly. Give us a call. Let us know how many tons you pull off that pond. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Compton, California, and Kima. You're on with Dr. Wallach.
Kima, you're on the air.
Good afternoon.
Hi, how can we help you?
Well, I'm a type 2 diabetic, as well as I have a severe gallbladder issue going on right now, and wanted to know what products you would recommend.
Okay, well, tell us about your gallbladder.
Well, I've been having some trouble with it for quite a while.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
My daughter's 10, and I know for maybe about 3 or 4 years before I even had her, I was having issues with my gallbladder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very painful. I once had a gallstone stuck in my pancreatic duct.
Mm-hmm. That's fun, isn't it?
It was very fun.
Yeah.
I was hospitalized for over 60 days initially, ICU, intubated.
Sure. How much do you weigh? How much do you weigh, Kima?
Right now I weigh 167.
Okay, now, do you have any skin problems?
I do have skin issues. I have like buildup or flakiness around my nose and eyebrows. Sometimes it extends to my scalp, but it's not dandruff.
Okay, yeah, this would be called rosacea. Does it ever get pink?
Yes.
Yeah, this is rosacea. Do you ever get any dry, rough skin on the back of your arms, your thighs, your butt?
No, only on actually my cheeks and my nose and my eyebrows and occasionally my hair.
Okay. And how tall are you?
I'm about 5'2.5".
Okay. I'd like to see you weigh 110, 120 pounds at max. So you're about 45, 50 pounds overweight. Okay, Shar?
Yes.
Okay, this is a Shar thing. What's up here?
That's a really bad gluten thing, and I got the same thing, only I just have the I call it the scarlet letter on my forehead, the red, flaky skin.
Yeah, that's not your whole head. It's just a disc the size of a large silver dollar between your left eyebrow and your hairline.
Yep.
And as soon as you got gluten-free, and what happened to it?
It goes away, but if gluten sneaks into my food, it comes back.
Well, there you go.
So you got to really be careful.
Yeah, Kima, you need to be drop-dead gluten-free. Everybody in your household, including any man, mother-in-law, kids, your kids will have 25 to 50 healthful years added to their life if you get them off of gluten. You'll save yourself a lot of misery. You'll save them a lot of misery of getting them off of gluten. The dog, the cat, the bird, the fish, everybody's got to be gluten-free. You got to get off of all fried foods, processed meats, oils, and no gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And then, Shar, what would you do for her? She's got 167 pounds.
She's got the diabetes, so she needs 2 of the healthy blood sugar packs.
Okay.
And
the gallbladder, what you do?
I would probably add the enzymes for.
Yep, the ultimate enzymes, the gallbladder in a bottle. You got it.
Help with
and
that.
So I'd have her take 1 or 2 of those, say 2 minutes before each meal, with a couple ounces of water. And what would you do for her weight problem?
ASAP.
ASAP. And, take a dropper full under your tongue 30 minutes before each meal, and you'll lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. And the magic here is, Kima, when you get down to where you want to get, you stay on the 90 for life appropriate for your body weight. You'd be able to cut it down to 1 a day instead of 2 when you get down to that 115, 120 pounds. And guess what? You'll never gain the weight back as long as you stay on your 90, because it's a nutritional deficiency. It's not lack of exercise or eating too much. We'll be back after these messages. We're back with Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for Youngevity and 90 for Life Crusade. And Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Los Angeles, California. And Yvonne, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Yvonne, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, how can we help you?
Hi, I was on dialysis for 13 years after having had lupus for 4. Mm-hmm. And now I've had a kidney transplant for 7.5 years. And I've been told by my physicians that I should not take any extra minerals, but I'm really interested in taking what you offer, because it seems, I imagine that I'm depleted of both vitamins and minerals, but I'm afraid that it might be a contraindication with the medication I take for rejection.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you have to stay on the anti-rejection drug since you have a kidney transplant. How much do you weigh, Yvonne?
About 130.
Okay. Do you have any other issues? Do you have diabetes? Do you have high blood pressure, arthritis, anything like that?
I have osteoporosis, and my skin has gotten really thin. I think all that's because of the prednisone, and I have calcifications.
Okay, you have calcifications in your skin or kidneys or arteries or where?
The arteries.
Okay. Yeah, and this is because of the dialysis. When you have a dialysis takes out all the bad stuff, but it also takes out all the good stuff. And unless you're replacing it, you're going to start getting deficiency diseases. And certainly that's why you have osteoporosis. It contributes to that. Dialysis does. It contributes to what's called malignant calcifications throughout your arteries, maybe even in your new kidneys will get the same thing. And this is caused by a magnesium deficiency. You get malignant calcification, and this is caused by magnesium deficiency because you have dialysis. Now, did you have any skin problems when you were young?
I started to get like white spotting on the top part of my hand, mm-hmm. And my dad was real diligent, and he found a doctor that he put acid and some kind of a thing and made me sit out in the sun. I guess it's that vitiligo.
Vitiligo, yeah, that's a deficiency. Okay. And then, it's caused by copper deficiency. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you can't make melanin without copper. And then, did you ever have any asthma or bronchitis?
No.
Okay. And no diabetes?
No diabetes, no.
Okay.
But I do have very thin, especially like on my forearms, my skin's real thin, and on my face.
Sure. Okay.
I've lost a lot of muscle mass.
Yep. Well, I would go with something very simple here. At 130 pounds, I would take 1 Healthy Start pack a month. I get an extra bottle of glucogel. So you could take a tablespoon of the OsteoFX Plus at breakfast and dinner, 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangerine 2.0 at breakfast and dinner, the 3 EFA Pluses, I'd have you take 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch, and 1 at dinner. And then I would have you take, like I say, because of the osteoporosis and thin skin, I would go ahead and get 1 bottle of the 240 count of the glucogel. So you could take 3 of those twice a day. and that's going to support and promote the maintenance and repair of collagen, connective tissue, because you have a history of lupus, and so that would be very important there. I would also get 1 bottle of our Ultimate Selenium, so you could take 3 of those a day, 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch, 1 at dinner. That's good for the muscle. And also have 1 meal a day of our Slender FX weight management system, a meal replacer. You make it with water, it's a weight loss program, but if you make it with heavy whipping cream, throw a couple of eggs in there. We use that to make muscle mass for professional, Olympic, and university and high school athletes. So again, that's the Slender FX weight management shake, but instead of making it with water, make it with heavy whipping cream, and also throw in a couple of eggs. You can even put all of your supplements in there. It tastes pretty nice if it's chocolate. And I wish that we could say that these nutritional products would interfere with medications, but they won't. And so you don't have to worry about them interfering with anything. Your new kidneys need just as much nutrition as your old ones did, and obviously that didn't work out too well, not supplementing with it. And so let's take better care of your new kidneys than you did with the original ones, and supplement. You'll be fine. We do this thousands of times a year, never had any complaints or rejections of kidneys or livers or hearts. Okay, well, thank you, Shar. Superlative job today. Thank you, Doug and Richard. Superlative job as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs. And God bless America.